Today we are checking out the 15mm f1.4 Sigma. It's a lens with a very unique characteristic and one that you don't really see getting released too often. Yes, Sigma did release a 14mm f1.4 recently, so why are they releasing a 15? Well, this one is Fisheye, so don't worry about the distortion, don't want straight lines, we want them bendy, curvy and a little bit interesting. As with the previous 14mm, you do actually have the specialized lens cap as well, which actually holds your ND filters if you want to use them. Lenses of this kind of like wide kind of capability tend to be used for low shutter shots, time lapses. So having the ability to just simply put an ND on the back of the lens, which just slots into the back of the lens there, just gives you a little bit more capabilities in that retrospect. We're in the centre of Cardiff today because it's really a harsh day of sun. So we're hopefully going to be able to get some cool black and white, maybe cityscapes, and just have some fun. Because at the end of the day, it's all about having fun. Let's do it.
I've recently become a massive fan of just going out and taking photos. This 14mm is a challenge for me because it's an angle that I don't tend to use, but it's an interesting one at that, producing very sharp images and a different perspective on something that I wouldn't have expected before when using this. And this kind of angle can even be used in some situations which I wouldn't have thought of before. This is a portrait of Tyler, and you can tell from that 1.4 depth of field that you wouldn't usually get out of a fisheye, that you can get some very different portrait shots out of this lens.
It's got a very similar build to the 14mm, which is just a millimeter out, which is, again, I'm finding this lens a little bit hard to believe that they're releasing a 15 and a 14. But the other side of it is you get a very unique shot out of this as well, kind of like a world of your own. When it comes to the lens, you have the manual focus and autofocus switch here, you have the manual focus and autofocus lock here, and then you have the D-click ring here. As with most new Sigma lenses, you do actually have the aperture ring controllable there. You've got the lock here, which is what I just put it on. When it comes to the lens, they do actually have the Arca Swiss tripod collar here as well, and this is something new to kind of like wide angle lenses a little bit recently, especially with Sigma. It's nice to have it there. It's a little bit weird to have it on a wide angle, but let's see if it's useful, is it? We're just going to be going towards the train station now in order to get a little bit more of the skyscraper-esque part of Cardiff, and yeah, fun.
With this lens you have a whole host of possibilities. For example, this one, it's a reasonably interesting macro shot and again a different perspective.
Alright, so we're just around the corner from the train station now. I am of course hanging off the end of the road. I'm just going to take a photo of this building just on this corner to make it look nice and thin, although it's quite thick, and see kind of what the sharpness and the distortion's like on it.
With the amount of distortion that's prevalent in these lenses, it's hard to tell whether it's better in portrait or landscape for me.
It's a very interesting focal length. Well, it's a very interesting kind of effect lens, because it's more of an effect lens, this. So what I can see it being used for is a lot of kind of like skateboarder videos, a lot of kind of like action shoots as well, and a lot of sort of like architecture as well, because it has a very kind of unique flair to kind of what you get out of the shot. What I'm going to do now is mainly focus on the background here. So again, really harsh kind of like light today. So I'm going to shoot directly down the center of this street, not being dangerous in the slightest, and get the nice kind of like light down there. I might make this photo black and white. We'll see how it turns out. Let's let the bus go past. I'm going to jump in, see if I can just get the bus on the tail end. Okay.
Using the lens in a little bit of a different way, I'm using the distortion on the far end to encapsulate the light here. I think it worked really well, and to check the sharpness, this is a 33 megapixel photo, and as you can see, the image is just really damn sharp.
Huh? Alright, so what I want to do is get the shadow of the pillar up here against the building and try and make it look a little bit symmetrical. So you got like a shadow world and a light world. See kind of what the shot comes out like. It's a very kind of like symmetry based shot, this.
I do love these really harsh shadow days because you can get some really quite fabulous photos.
So I'm going to be a bit ridiculous here. I'm going to lie down on the floor, aim to be like directly in the center of this, and then shoot up at there and get the triangles, because triangles are really good to get in photography and they may look pretty cool. So I'm about to do something really embarrassing.
I actually stayed here a while to make sure that all the symmetry was on point and different compositions of it.
I don't know if you saw that, but what was actually really cool is a plane was actually flying in and amongst the top bit up there. And you can see it just in the distance. It's a bit wide for it to be able to see it. I might see if I can exaggerate it in post. But that was pretty cool, actually. I enjoyed that shot.
The photo being this one. If we zoom in now, you can see that there's a tiny plane, and because it's at 14mm, it's made even smaller at the fact you've got so much distortion there. But just seeing how sharp this lens is, I must admit, I was very impressed. Is it a lens that I'd ultimately choose? I don't know. I don't think so. But is it good? I'd say yes.
So these guys have graciously allowed us to film them whilst they're playing. Going to be doing a bunch of different things with all the cameras I've got in my backpack at the moment. First things first though, let's try out the 15mm and get some cool shots, shall we?
With this, I really wanted to test out the video on a couple of musicians and see kind of what it would be useful for music videos, as this is another industry I see it being quite popular with, maybe with more rap kind of like music, but in this I think it worked quite well. I mean, the shots came out a different perspective. I know I've said this quite a lot, but that's what this lens really is. It's a different perspective and a different way of telling stories, taking photos. Let me know what you think.
So, what do I think of this lens? I think it's very interesting. Do I think it's going to do particularly well? I don't know, because it's more of a effects lens, like I was saying. It'll be really good to see in maybe some fight choreography, some action-paced stuff, and I think in that market it's going to do really quite well, like snowboarding as well. The 15mm looks pretty damn sharp. In fact, I've cut to Stuart in the office to see if he actually liked it. What do I think of it right now? I'm unsure. I've never really shot fisheye. I don't shoot fisheye that much. It's a very case use kind of thing that you would actually use this lens for. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, follow and subscribe if you want to see more. Have a good day.